In this video, we want to focus on what is Advaita. Along with Advaita, we want to understand different schools of thought out there in Sanatana Dharma. So that is our objective in this video. So if you see, Vedas are our sacred texts. There are four Vedas, like you can say four Vedas. The four Vedas are Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. And each Veda is further categorized into four categories basically. We can call them as Brahmanas, Samhitas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. So essentially, each Veda is further classified into four, which is Brahmanas, Samhitas, Aranyakas, Upanishads. So, Brahmana, Samhitas, and Aranyakas essentially talk about the slokas we chant, the rituals we do, the mantras we need to chant during a particular type of ritual or when we worship the god. All those are explained in Brahmana, Samhitas, and Aranyakas. Aranyakas essentially explains about what a person needs to do when that person is in that vanaprastu state, basically. Like where there are four stages in the life, we can say that the first one is brahmachari, then gruhastu, then vanaprastu, and sannyasi. Vanaprastu is where a person will try to go towards the spiritual path, or when the person tries to relinquish all his responsibilities and relationships and all that, when they try to go into like mountains or forests or whatever, and then they try to do meditation and all. We call them as vanaprastu state, and for them, what rituals they need to do, all that is explained in Aranyakas. Whereas Brahmanas or Samhitas are explained to everybody basically. Okay, any person who is in the Gruhastu and uh, Brahmachari. So whatever we do when a child is born, there are some rituals done, and when after the child is born on 21st day, there is some ritual done. When the child is 3 months old, another ritual done to start feeding rice, and then to name the child, there is a different ceremony. And when a marriage is done, there is a different ceremony. And then when a person dies, there is a ceremony. What rituals need to be done all the 11 days, and then after that, what is the yearly ceremony? What is the monthly ceremony they need to do? All those are explained in Brahmanas and Samhitas, and along with that, a lot of the slokas, suktas, and mantras that we chant, all those are part of Brahmana Samhitas. Good example is on every Monday we do Lord Shiva Abhisheka. So during that Abhisheka, we chant Rudram, which is Namakam and Chamakam. That Namakam and Chamakam is from Samhita. It is from Yajurveda Samhita. Okay. So these three essentially talk about bhakti, upasana, karmas that we do, and yoga also, essentially. Okay, meditation and all. Yoga, meditation and all. Right. The last one is Upanishads. Okay, Upanishad is they call it as Vedanta, end of Vedas. I mean, it's literally not end of the Vedas, but it is the highest source, we can call it Upanishads basically. Upanishads, it all talks about knowledge basically. Okay, Gnana. So there are like around 10 or 11 key Upanishads, and along with that, there are a lot more Upanishads, but these 10 and 11 are the key Upanishads. So Upanishads explain about the philosophy, essentially spirituality, or philosophical aspects of what is our true nature. That is explained in Upanishads, and after, these are part of uh, Vedas basically. And there is something called Brahma Sutras. Okay, Badarayana Maharshi wrote the Brahma Sutras, and Brahma Sutras essentially it explains about, like, when we study Upanishads, we may get a lot of questions because Upanishads is the most complex subject. uh, when we study Upanishads, we may end up with a lot of questions. So all those questions, logically, for every question there will be an answer in Brahma Sutras. Okay, that is what Badarayana Maharshi gave it to us. So another one is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we all know about Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna gave this wonderful gift to all of us when he provided this to Arjuna during Kurukshetra war. And Bhagavad Gita is kind of a summarization of Upanishads and Brahma Sutras. Like together, he kind of summarized it and gave a wonderful gift to us in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So these three should be studied in this order essentially. So first, Upanishads need to be studied thoroughly, and then definitely everybody will get a lot of questions and answers. Then Brahma Sutras, and if we study these two, Bhagavad Gita will we will understand very clearly. So these three we call it as Prasthanatrayi. Prasthanatrayi. It is spiritual trinity. Okay, these three are canonical texts. We can call it triple canon. Okay, this is called as Prasthanatrayi. Okay, this is very powerful. Like any knowledge we want to attain, everything is in Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, and Bhagavad Gita. So that is the essentially about high level Vedas. Like for example, Brahmana, Samhitas, Aranyakas talk about bhakti, upasana, what karmas we need to do, yoga and all that. Whereas Upanishads talk about knowledge basically. Okay, so um, we discussed what this is called as. This is called as Prasthanatrayi, right? So 1400 years ago from the current date, if we say, there was a person called Adi Shankara. He was born in the current state of Kerala. Okay, we can write his name, Adi Shankara. Okay, so Adi Shankara, when he was born, he was a gifted person, and he was able to study all the Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gitas very early in his age, and he was able to write lot of commentaries. Okay, on everything, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and not only that, he wrote lot of. He was a prolific writer. He wrote a lot of writings, a lot of slokas, suktas, and in the current age today, we whatever we listen to in temple, a lot of these slokas and a lot of these bhajans, most of them are from Adi Shankara. So when Adi Shankara was born, at that time Sanatana Dharma was in a danger. Okay, like 1500 years ago, Buddhism was literally taking over, and people were not doing any rituals, whatever they were supposed to do, they were not worshipping, and they were getting attracted to Buddhism. So that was Sanatana Dharma was in a very dangerous situation at that time. So what he did, he studied all that. He came up with his own bhasha, which is called as Saririka Mimamsa Bhashya. Okay, so he wrote is that bhashya, and he toured all over India to explain this to Buddhists, and he kind of literally argued with all the Buddhists to make sure Buddhism is driven out of the country. Because of Adi Shankara, today Sanatana Dharma, where it is today, is because of Adi Shankara. Otherwise, Buddhism would have taken over the whole country. Okay, so that is the first thing he did. Okay, and not only that, when Adi Shankara was born, at that time within Hinduism itself, there was a lot of infighting going on. Okay, so if you see within Hinduism, there used to be a lot of sects actually. religious groups we can call. People would worship one particular god and they used to call themselves a particular religious group or a sect. Okay, and there were a lot of sectarian conflicts. Like for example, we can call it as Vaishnavam, which is like they consider Lord Vishnu as their god, Shaivam, Lord Shiva as their god, Sakteyam, Shakti as their goddess, and Sauram, which is like sun as their god, and Ganapatyam. They would look at Ganesha as their god, and some people used to look Murugan or Kartikeya as their own god. So all these people, they formed their own religious groups or sects, and they would have their own type of rituals, their own temples, and all that. There was a lot of infighting going on within Sanatana Dharma. So what Adi Shankara did, he tried to bring all these religious groups together. So what he did, he established something called Smartha tradition. Okay, as part of Smartha tradition is basically essentially the foundation or pramana is all Vedas, okay, which is Smriti and Sruti. And in our Smartha tradition, he established something called Panchayatana Puja. Okay, so in Panchayatana Puja, the way he established was we can put all these deities of all these gods and goddess and do a puja basically. Okay, he made sure that there is unity in diversity. Okay, because in the current age also, when we do any puja, the first thing we do is we pray to Lord Ganesha to remove any obstacles while doing that puja or any other obstacles in our life. That is the first thing we do. And then we do Navagraha puja. Like along with sun, we pray to all other grahas to make sure everything is fine. And then we do our Ishtadevata puja, like whatever it is. Like it could be worshipping Lord Vishnu if it is Satyanarayana Vrata, or if it is Rudrabhisheka or some other Lord Shiva puja, worship Lord Shiva, or if it is Shakti, Lord Goddess Shakti. So essentially, he said you put all these five deities and then do whatever you need to do. He established this Panchayatana Puja. Even today, we all follow this Panchayatana Puja, and that is our Smartha tradition. Okay, majority of Indians, they follow that. So not only that, what he did, the another wonderful thing he provided us is he established four monasteries basically. See, when he worked with all these Buddhists to make sure Buddhism is driven out of the country, he picked four of his most important disciples. He established four monasteries, like one in north, one in south, one in west, the other one in east, and he put his four important disciples as head of those monasteries, basically. Okay, and he made sure that monastery and the head that is continued even till today. Okay, so and the main objective of these monasteries is protect Sanatana Dharma. Okay, and preach uh, Sanatana Dharma. Okay, to all the citizens. That is the main objective of these four monasteries. So when Adi Shankara did all this work, while writing this Saririka Mimamsa, or the commentary or interpretation of this Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, and Bhagavad Gita, he came up with his own, we can call it as his school of thought is called as non-dualistic school of thought, which is called as Advaita. Okay, so this school of thought that came from Adi Shankara is called as non-dualistic school of thought, which is Advaita, and we'll come back to the details when we discuss all these three. Okay, so those were the contributions of Adi Shankara basically. Okay, we should all be very grateful to Adi Shankara because of Adi Shankara, Sanatana Dharma is here today. Okay, because of him only the whole Sanatana Dharma is where today is because of him. Basically. Okay, so 200 years after Adi Shankara, so maybe 1200 years ago from now, another person named Ramanuja was born. Okay. Ramanuja was born in the state of Tamil Nadu, and he was also a very gifted person. And he was born in a Vaishnava family, so he was very much influenced by Vaishnavism. And he also studied Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and all. And when he was born, Advaita, it picked up, and everybody was following that. Even his teacher was preaching Advaita. But Ramanuja, when he studied Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, and Bhagavad Gita, he came up with his own interpretation, and he wrote his own commentary called as Sri Bhashya. Okay, so basically he refuted whatever Adi Shankara kind of explained. So he came up with his own interpretation, which is called as Sribhashya, and that school of thought is called as VisishtAdvaitha, which is qualified non-dualism. Qualified non-dualism, which is called as VisishtAdvaitha. Okay. So, Ramanuja also contributed so much in the form of writings, and in the southern part of India, whatever the VisishtAdvaita he established, that is being followed. And 200 or 150 years later, Ramanuja, another person was born in the current state of Karnataka, and he's none other than Madhva. Okay, so Madhva was also a very gifted person. He was born in the current state of Karnataka, and he studied Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and all. And he came up with his own interpretation, and he wrote his own commentary called as Purna Prajna Bhashya. So, and that is called as dualism, which is called Dvaita. Okay, so what Adi Shankara tried to do, basically, he tried to bring all the religious groups together, and he kind of showed that we all should work as unity, and he established this whole Smartha tradition and Panchayatana Puja. And then after 200 years we went back into, because Ramanuja and Madhva, in their school of thought, Lord Vishnu is the only supreme source, and it is kind of complete, these two schools of thought lean towards Vaishnavism, basically. Okay, but we ended up with again multiple religious groups, and that continued. So these are the three greatest philosophers who provided wonderful schools of thought in our Sanatana Dharma. And along with these three, there are other schools of thought, but a lot more came. But these three are like predominantly, these are like the most dominant ones. Okay, now what we need to understand here is, we need to understand the differences among these three, actually what exactly these three are. So chronologically, if you see, Advaita came first, and then Visishtadvaita, and then Dvaita came. So but to keep it simple, when we want to discuss, let us go from the bottom to the top. Okay, from, I would say, from the latest to the oldest, basically. Okay, so in all these three schools of thought, there is something common, basically, which is called as three entities. It is based on three entities, basically: Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Okay, so in duality or Dvaita, whatever the dualistic school of thought that Madhvacharya proposed, as per him, the three entities are always different. Okay, what is Jiva first? Jiva is sentient beings like us. I am a jiva, you are a jiva, and somebody else is a jiva. All these are sentient beings, right? Okay, conscious living souls, basically we can call jiva. Ishvara, as per Madhva, Ishvara is only one, that is Lord Vishnu. He is the highest source. He is the supreme Lord. Okay, that is Ishvara. Jagat is insentient, uh, materialistic objects. Okay, uh, things that are not conscious, like for example a mountain, a tree, this board, all these part of Jagat basically. Okay, so as per Madhva, these three are different and these three are real. Okay, so what there are this Madhva or Madhvacharya's dualistic philosophy has like five key differences basically. Okay, and these are like cannot be compromised. These cannot be compromised. What those are? A Jiva is always different from Ishvara. I am different, Lord Vishnu is different. You are different, Lord Vishnu is different. So any Jiva is different from Lord Vishnu. Okay, Jiva is different from Jagat. I am different from this board. You are different from the phone you are watching on. Jiva and Jagat are different. Jagat and Ishvara are different. Okay, this board is different from Lord Vishnu. This pen is different from Lord Vishnu. G. So far we discussed three. Jiva and Jiva are also different. You are different than me. I am different from my spouse. So every soul, living soul, every sentient being is different. Okay. Fourth one. Fifth one is Jagat and Jagat also different. This board is different, the pen is different. The computer is different, the phone is different. So these are the five. All these five differences are real. Lord Vishnu is real. He is in Vaikuntha. And every Jiva is different. These are the three entities. Okay. And that is Madhva's dualistic. When we say dual, it is not just two, it is multiplicity, more than one. Basically, there are infinite number of jivas, we can say, right? Like because a lot of conscious, like animals, humans, and all that, right? So everything is different from each other. Okay, so if you see Madhva, as per Madhva philosophy, Lord Vishnu is the ultimate source, and Bhakti is the path. Okay, Bhakti, faith, surrender, surrendering to Lord Vishnu. So if these are the key to attain liberation. What is liberation? So if you have bhakti, if you have faith in Lord Vishnu, and if you surrender, genuinely surrender to Narayana, Lord Vishnu, and then you continue to do your good deeds, okay, you will go through the cycle of life, birth and death, and then in one janma eventually you will attain moksha, which is liberation, and at that point you will go to Vaikuntha and you will continue to do seva to Lord Vishnu. Even there you are separate because Vishnu is the ultimate source and he is Swatantra, which is independent. We are all Paratantra, which is dependent. Okay, there also will continue to do the seva. So that is the path of Madhva's dualistic school of thought, Dvaitha. Okay, so if you see, these three are different. Okay, so Ramanuja's in Ramanuja's qualified dualism, it is little bit. It is close to definitely duality, but there are certain changes. So as per Ramanuja, also these three are different, no doubt. Jiva is different from Jagat, Jagat is different from Ishvara. But what Ramanuja says is, so if you say if this is Ishvara, okay, Jiva and Jagat are part of Ishvara. So Jiva and Jagat. So essentially, what qualified non-dualism says is Jiva and Jagat are just attributes of Ishvara. Okay, and here also Ishvara is Lord Vishnu, which is the ultimate source, highest source. And here also bhakti, faith, genuine surrenderance is the path. And if you continue to do your good deeds, then eventually in one janma you will attain moksha, liberation, you will go to Vaikuntha. There also you're still part of Vishnu, but you are still you and Vishnu are not same or anything like that. Okay, so that is qualified non-dualism. Basically, we call it as VisishtAdvaitha. Okay, so in this also same thing, bhakti, faith, surrenderance, and all that. So pretty much these two are kind of more or less same basically. Okay, now the final one is a non-dualistic school of thought, Advaita. This is a very different school of thought, and it gives us a very radical approach. Okay, like for example, if you want to explain dualistic school of thought to a common man, regular person, it's very easy to explain because majority of us we follow this. Okay, we all know that I am real, you are real, you and I are different. There is God, and that God is somewhere. We give a form, we give some attributes to God, and we worship God, and we all know that hey, if I continue to do these good deeds, sometime in some janma, I'll attain moksha. Okay, that is what we all. It is easy to explain to people these two, but if we try to go and explain non-dualistic school of thought or Advaita, it is not easy. Okay, because in non-dualistic school of thought, the way it is explained is Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat, all are same. Okay, essentially when we say non-duality, that means non-duality is there is no two, that means there is no multiplicity, it is always one basically. Okay, so in non-dualistic school of thought, Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat are just one basically. What does it mean? It means that the Jiva and Jagat, those are just appearances of Ishvara. Okay, here we are giving a form to God. We are saying it is Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is like this and all. Okay, which is called as Saguna Bhakti. Here it is called as Nirguna. That means here we are not giving any form to Ishvara. Okay, we are not giving any attributes to Ishvara. Okay, because understanding the ultimate reality or the highest source is beyond humans' perception. Basically, that is the whole point here. Basically, okay, and Ishvara, the whole concept is Ishvara is everywhere. Ishvara is inside me, inside you, around us, everywhere basically. Okay, that's the whole point. That is why we think that Ishvara is somewhere in uh, some other space or somewhere called Vaikuntha or Kailasha. No, he's here at this moment. He's running, he's the controller, he's the inner controller of everybody, everything. He's kind of omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, sarvantaryami, we say sarva shakti. He has that powerful, he is very powerful. Okay, so that is what we uh, it is being explained in non-dualistic school of thought. So it is not easy to explain it to somebody saying that hey, it is uh, God is not somewhere in some Vaikuntha or Kailasha, and God is here. If you understand, you are part of God, you are God. It is very difficult to explain and comprehend. So, in a simple way, it is explained in Upanishads: Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, Brahma Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Uh, uh, Jiva Brahmopanay Vara. So sorry if I made mistake. So basically what it seems is Brahman. Ishvara is Brahman, we can call it. That is ultimate reality, right? Absolute reality. That is the fact, Brahma Satyam. Jagat Mithya. Okay. Jagat Mithya is whatever the Jagat we see, it is all an illusion or Maya, we can call it. It is an appearance of Brahman basically. Okay. And then uh, Jiva Brahmaipo Naraha means the Jiva is nothing but the Brahman basically. So so essentially what see, there are not only this, there are other Mahakav, we call it as Mahavakyas basically. Okay, Mahavakyas are Tattvamasi, means what? Basically I am, that means I am Brahman basically. Okay, if we understand these Mahavakyas, right? Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Pragnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma. All these indicate that if you understand that Brahman, okay, that pure consciousness, okay, that ultimate reality, okay, then you get liberated instantly. So essentially, if you see here, knowledge is the path actually. Okay, I mean, here in Advaita, we are not saying that you should not do rituals, you should not do pujas and all. Yes, you can do whatever you want, but the key is the knowledge. Okay, and to do that knowledge, what needs to be done? What is the path? Which is investigation, basically, which is inquiry, self-inquiry, we can call it, right? So this is the path. This is the path. Whereas in this bhakti, faith, surrendering to God, and then you will get moksha in some janma. That is the path in uh, Dvaita and VisishtAdvaitha. Whereas here, doing self-inquiry, going from unknown to known, okay, going from lack of knowledge to knowledge, going from avidya to vidya, going from ajnana to gnana, that is the path, okay, and that is the path of knowledge in Advaita, basically. So in Advaita, it is not a journey, spiritual journey based on some time and space. Oh no, we are not going from this place to some other place to get moksha, like it is explained in these other schools of thought. If you go from unknown to known, if you go from avidya to vidya, then instantly you get liberated. That means instantly you get liberated. Liberated means, again, we are not going to Vaikuntha or Kailasha or anywhere. Instantly liberated is you will not have any more worry or fear if you know that you are that. Okay, that is the whole point of Advaita and this path of knowledge. Okay, so by discussing this, we are not trying to show one school of thought as superior and other schools of thought as inferior. No, we are not trying to do that. We are just trying to understand the key schools of thought that were provided to us by these greatest philosophers. Basically, we need to understand, and we need to understand because uh, we can pick whatever the school of thought that we want to, and then we go in that path, basically, because in Sanatana Dharma is the greatest religion or dharma, we can call it, because only in this religion we are not told to do certain things. You do this regularly, you have to do this and all. No, it is not. Of course, we are told the bottom line in all these is you do your whatever the desire, whatever the kama you have, whatever the ardha, whatever you are trying to earn, do all those two based on the dharma which is explained in our Vedas, the sacred text. Then you will get moksha. It's pretty simple. That is what we need to follow. But other than that, they don't tell us, hey, you do this, you do this, you do this, like in other religions, right? Sanatana Dharma is like a very flexible religion where every spiritual seeker, based on their need, they can pick whatever they want. Okay, somebody may have a spiritual need of, hey, I want to do this karmas regularly, I want to do this upasana, and I want to do this bhakti path and all. For them, yes, there is Dvaita and VisishtAdvaitha. And if someone wants to have a spiritual need, like I want to understand philosophically what is my true nature, and then for them this Advaita path is there. Okay, and if you see Swami Vivekananda, he put them in an order, like he said, these are like a ladder, basically. Okay, so not necessarily, I mean, it is not in any wrong way or incorrect way. Basically, his point is that any person, if he is explained and if he is taught to go in this bhakti path with ultimate faith and surrenderance, he should start with the Dvaita, which are in the bottom rungs of the ladder, and then he should be able to understand that he or she is part of that Ishvara, and then they will go to the next level, and then eventually they will reach to this they will take this knowledge path, and they'll understand that um, They're nothing but Ishvara basically. So that's how you put in the form of a ladder. Okay, and not only him, there is a story from Ramayana. It seems Lord Rama comes to Hanuma and he will ask him, "Hey, what do you see in me?" Then Hanuma responds to him saying that Deha buddhyatu dasoham, Jiva buddhya tvadam sakaha, Atma buddhya tvamevakam, itine maschitihi. Sorry, again I'm sorry. So the meaning is Deha buddhyatu dasoham means Rama, you and I are different. I am your servant, which is Dvaita. In this way, he's explaining. Jiva buddhya tvadam sakaha. He's saying, Rama, I'm part of you. He's saying, okay, and he's kind of indicating VisishtAdvaitha. Atma Buddha Tadevakam. He's saying, what he's saying is, Hey Rama, you and I are same. There is no difference. And he's saying all three are same. That's my conviction. So essentially, even Hanuma is saying that, hey, all three are good. We can pick whatever we want, basically. So that is the high level explanation of these three different schools of thought. And while discussing especially Advaita, we touched upon few key words like consciousness, basically, right? Um, we need to understand what consciousness is, what is existence, which is called as Sat and Chit, Asti Bhati. So those concepts we need to understand before we dive into Advaita, basically, because Advaita is all about understanding your true nature. Basically, we will have to do that investigation. We'll have to do self-inquiry to go from the unknown to known. Okay, if we go in that path, we will we will understand our true nature actually. Okay, so even whoever is in this path, it is nothing wrong or anything. Like we discussed, it is everybody has that adhikari bheda, we call it in Sanatana Dharma. Okay, every spiritual seeker is different and he has his own needs. Based on that, that person will pick one of the one school of thought, basically. Okay, so in the next video we will dig into more concepts and we'll try to understand. Thank you.